Chapter 6, Mishnah 9. Every resident of a courtyard must join the Eruv, otherwise it is invalid. The Mishnah discusses whether a person's right to walk through a courtyard is enough to make him considered a resident of that courtyard. The Mishnah lists 3 cases. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. If there are 2 courtyards, one located inside the other, so that residents of the inner courtyard must walk through the outer courtyard to reach the street, and the inner courtyard make its own Erev, but the outer courtyard did not make any Erev at all, carrying in the inner one is permitted because they have an Erev, but carrying in the outer one is prohibited because they do not have an Erev. The reverse case. If the outer one made an Erev, but the inner one did not, carrying is prohibited in both of them. Since the residents of the inner courtyard have the right to walk through the outer courtyard, the outer one must include the residents of the inner one in their Erev. Since the residents of the inner courtyard did not join in it, the Erev of the outer one is not valid. The third case. If this one made its own Erev and that one made its own Erev, but the two did not join together in a joint Erev, this one is permitted to carry within its own courtyard. And that one is also permitted within its own courtyard because both Erevs are valid. In this case, the outer Erev is valid even though the residents of the inner courtyard do not join it. Because in the opinion of this Tana, residents who are permitted to carry in their own courtyard do not prohibit another courtyard through which they have rites of passage. Rabbi Akiva, however, prohibits carrying in the outer one, because the rite of passage of the residents of the inner courtyard prohibits carrying the outer one. According to Rabbi Akiva, having a rite of passage through a courtyard makes one like a full resident of it, and the outer Erev cannot be valid without these people joining in it. A dissenting view. But the sages say the rite of passage of an inner courtyard never prohibits an outer courtyard, because a rite of passage does not make one a resident of the outer courtyard.